Good, happy Wednesday morning, March 4, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Wednesday morning, so let's begin. First up, let's take a look at your Super Tuesday results. And here is a look at those results for you. In Alabama, Joe Biden has won Alabama. In American Some Caucus, Michael Bloomberg has won. In Arkansas, Joe Biden has won. In California, there is no clear winner, but as you can see, Bernie Sanders is in the lead, followed by Joe Biden, then Michael Bloomberg, and then Elizabeth Warren. In Colorado, Bernie Sanders won Colorado. In Maine, no announced winner yet, but as you can see, Joe Biden is in the lead, followed by Bernie Sanders, then Elizabeth Warren, and then Michael Bloomberg. In Massachusetts, Joe Biden has won Massachusetts. In Minnesota, Joe Biden has won Minnesota. North Carolina, Joe Biden has won North Carolina. In Oklahoma, Joe Biden has won Oklahoma. In Tennessee, Joe Biden has won Tennessee. In Texas, Joe Biden has won Texas. In Utah, Bernie Sanders has won. In Vermont, Bernie Sanders won. In Virginia, Joe Biden won. And that is a look at the results for all of you. Second case of COVID-19 confirmed in New Hampshire. Health officials say first person confirmed with virus attended event despite diagnosis. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Gene Mackin.
At Beltates, customers will find everything they need for a building project. The brand names you trust to perform. And with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Beltates Building Products. 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
The patient who's now the second person to test positive for COVID-19 in New Hampshire is no stranger to the first patient. Health officials say the men, both from Grafton County, were in close contact. The first patient, an employee of Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center in Lebanon, recently traveled to Italy and was instructed to self-isolate before he was tested. But instead, Dartmouth College says he attended a Tuck School of Business social event here on Friday in White River Junction, Vermont. Now health officials are telling anyone in close contact with patient number 1 to self-isolate for 14 days. And the Department of Health and Human Services has issued an order of isolation to the first patient.
That legal order gives us additional legal backing and authority to get that individual to comply with staying home and out of public places. But both our first and our second identified infections, we are checking with them on a regular basis, and they are currently complying and staying out of public places.
We are now getting our first look inside the State Public Laboratory in Concord, where swabs from cheeks and noses are tested for COVID-19.
You can see actually some liquid in there.
About a 2-hour process for these scientists. They say you should do what they do, frequent hand washing.
We have trained, we have been planning through the emergency preparedness funding for this type of event.
And tonight, state health officials say both men testing positive have mild symptoms. They are quarantining at home. They do not require hospitalization. They also say that a contact investigation is now underway. We are told by health officials here that additional cases related to this could be found. Live in Concord tonight, Jean Mackin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. COVID-19 coronavirus in New Hampshire. What you need to know. Health officials detail symptoms, how to prevent spread of virus. Two cases of COVID-19 strain of coronavirus, which was first detected in Wuhan City, China, has been confirmed by New Hampshire health officials. New Hampshire date, number of positive COVID-19 tests, 2. Number of pending tests, 4. Number of people treated since mid-January, 12. Patient 1, let's take a look. Here is patient 1, as you can see. And here is patient 2, right here. The symptoms. Officials said symptoms might appear in as few as 2 days or as longer as 14 days after exposure. Symptoms include fever, cough, difficult breathing. Prevention. What to do if you're sick. How the testing works. And if you want to see this article again, we will share it with you after the Riley King Newscast on the Riley King Network. New Hampshire State Lab can test specimens for COVID-19 in matter of hours. Lab biologists say hand washing best way to avoid contracting virus. Wash your hands, everyone. And do not wear a mask. Wash your hands frequently. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9, Amy Cavino.
It's only Tuesday, but this is a big, busy week at the State Public Health Laboratory. Rebecca Lovell is the scientist who discovered the very first COVID-19 case in the state yesterday.
We have a number of very talented laboratory staff who've been here for a number of years. We have trained, we have been planning through the emergency preparedness funding for this type of event.
The specimens are swabs from noses and cheeks. And here in the clean room, Rebecca Lovell is adding very specific reactive agents. And then
we're in the molecular diagnostics instrumentation room, where this is where everything happens.
The specimen goes into this machine for extraction. Takes about 2 hours of heating and cooling over and over again. An arc on the graph means positive.
The COVID-19, if it's in there, it will fluoresce in this machine. And if it's not there, nothing will happen.
Officials here caution this is likely only the beginning of a long health event in the state, a marathon, not a sprint.
What I'm most concerned about is making sure that our laboratory staff stay healthy so we can continue for the long run.
Frontline scientists are big advocates of prevention and say it does not require a mask. So what do you think is the most important thing for the public to know?
Wash your hands.
That's it?
Wash your hands, wash your hands.
Wash your hands. They were serious.
worries about the hand washing. They made us wash our hands before we left the lab today. The state of New Hampshire currently has enough testing supplies to test about 100 specimens. We are told more kits from the CDC are on the way. We're live in Concord this evening. Amy Cavino, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. There you go. You heard them say, wash your hands. Travelers at Manchester-Boston Regional Airport take precaution against COVID-19. Airport officials say cleaning efforts enhanced to prevent spread of virus. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
Explore the world just like J.C. Marie Smith with the City Advantage Platinum Select Card. With travel benefits at her fingertips, JC can fit right in at the center of the world's most vibrant spectacles. Experience more meaningful moments with the card built for your adventure.
Some passengers coming home from Florida wary of coronavirus concerns while traveling.
I did bring my masks, but when I didn't see anyone wearing them, I didn't pull them out to wear them. But yes, I do wash my hands frequently.
I saw a woman with a mask on, a few at the airport also.
The Manchester-Boston Regional Airport says airlines are stepping up cleaning efforts on board, while the airport is disinfecting highly touched areas.
Places like in the hold room seating area, in the restrooms, we're cleaning with some advanced chemicals that help kill all coronaviruses. It's really business as normal in a lot of ways. The threat is very low here at the airport.
To get to the airport, many people use transportation services like Grace Limousine and Shuttle.
We have a crew of people that are dedicated to maintaining the vehicles and their safety.
Michael Campbell says their vehicles are sanitized every day, but they are seeing some clients canceling out of fear of the virus.
This little machine pumps ozone, which is O3, into the vehicle.
Their ozone machine kills traces of viruses or smells and purifies the air inside its cars.
We're not putting newspapers in the back seats anymore, because that's a way that germs could be spread. We're not doing bottled water in the cup holders anymore. They're available upon request, again, just to minimize germs being passed back and forth.
Back at the airport, some are taking extra precautions.
Basically wash our hands and trying to avoid big crowds and doing our best.
Uber and Lyft are asking its drivers to disinfect their vehicles frequently and telling them that they don't have to pick up passengers if they don't feel safe, but they are reminding them that they cannot discriminate based on race. Reporting live in Manchester, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Basketball tournament set for July, postponed due to coronavirus. Granite State players were scheduled to attend. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Charisse LeClaire.
At Beltates, customers will find everything they need for a building project. The brand names you trust to perform. And with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Beltates Building Products. 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
The tryouts were set to be held here on Saturday, but now that's been postponed.
It was unfortunate that we had the coronavirus, because that affected everything. It's affecting everything.
Including international travel. David Jernigan is a former professional basketball player and now scouts players for college and the NBA. He was in the midst of creating a top-notch team to travel to Australia and take part in a multi-nation tournament in July, giving them exposure to potentially play professionally one day.
It gives them a great opportunity if they're a kid going in that path.
Jernigan has been recruiting players from across the country and planned on looking for New Hampshire talent to add to the 10-person team, with tryouts set for Saturday at the Sports Barn in Hampton. But after a call yesterday with tournament officials at Australian Basketball Development, they made the decision together not to proceed with the tournament, at least for right now.
Because health and life is more important than anything else. And so we could always step back, and then once things start getting better, we can kind of go forward again.
Jernigan says lots of people are disappointed that the trip that was set for mid-July is now off, but together they decided it best to wait until cases of the virus stop appearing and for some sort of vaccine or cure to be announced so they feel safe bringing kids overseas.
Better that people are healthy, everybody's healthy, involved, so that when that time comes, they're ready to go.
In Hampton, Charisse LeClaire, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Dow features indicate more than 400-point pop as Biden scores early lead on Super Tuesday. U.S. stock index features pointed to a higher Wednesday open as early results on Super Tuesday show former Vice President Joe Biden notching key wins and reassuring investors of his place aimed the top candidates in the Democratic pool. NYC disaffecting trains, stations as coronavirus case grow nationwide. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
The concern over the coronavirus here in the U.S. now widening. Tonight, 9 people have now died in Washington state and that new case in New York City. Meantime, 2 new states reporting their first cases tonight, Georgia and North Carolina added to the map. And that second confirmed case here in a New York City suburb, a man who traveled into Manhattan to work. Tonight, they're trying to retrace his steps. He is now in the hospital in serious condition. Schools linked to his children are closed, and now New York City is disinfecting the subways, among other steps. ABC's Whit Johnson tonight here in New York.
Tonight, New York City disinfecting thousands of trains, buses, and stations. The massive cleaning effort following the state's first suspected case of community spread of the virus. A man in his 50s from Westchester County now hospitalized in serious condition.
We're very concerned because of what appears to be previous respiratory condition, which creates more danger.
The man commuted by train to Grand Central Station, saying he also traveled recently to Israel and Miami. His family now under quarantine, and 2 schools closed connected to his son. It's New York's second case of COVID-19 after a healthcare worker tested positive following a trip to Iran. The number's growing. More than 110 cases across the U.S., at least 15 states affected. In Washington state, the death toll jumping to 9, where the elderly have been hit hardest at this nursing center. Our Kaylee Hartung is there.
For a second night in a row here at Life Care, we've seen emergency vehicles speed in, and now another person taken to the hospital.
Tonight, word of 7 more cases in the state, including 2 men in their 20s. That virus on the move. A new case in North Carolina traced back to that nursing home in Washington. Today, more than 120 evacuees from the Diamond Princess cruise ship released from quarantine at Lackland Air Force Base and bused to the airport.
Where are you headed to? Dallas.
But only those who have been symptom-free for a full 14 days after local officials blasted the CDC for releasing a woman who later tested positive for COVID-19. Tonight, hundreds of American college students are making their way home from study abroad programs after last night's announcement.
There will be 100% screening all direct flights at all airports across Italy and across South Korea.
But Chloe Froning, on her way home from Italy, had to connect through Amsterdam. She tells us she wasn't screened at all.
As of right now, we have not experienced any sort of extra check based on anything regarding the coronavirus.
Not even a temperature check before boarding her flight to Atlanta.
The guy asked me if I had been to Iran or China in the last 2 weeks. Interestingly, not Italy.
And so let's get to Whit Johnson tonight. He's now outside the hospital in New York where this patient is being treated. As you reported there, Whit, he's in serious condition. You also reported his family is in self-quarantine, his children as well. But this is actually widening tonight.
David, health officials are ordering anyone who recently came in contact with that patient to self-quarantine, and that includes members of his congregation at his synagogue through at least the end of the week. David?
All right, Whit Johnson tonight. Whit, thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all enjoyed watching this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.